What's up, bankers?
Hello, bangers.
How is everybody doing?
How are you doing? Are you bricked up? Are you hard as a rock in a fucking ice storm? Dude, I'm harder than a diamond in an ice storm for the end of that race.
There you go. You got it that time.
Harder than a rock in Antarctica, you know? My sayings are all over the place, but I'm fucking verklempt because Fernando Alonso got me feeling fucking hot and heavy, baby.
Yeah, he's still got it, baby. He's still got it. He's not going to let that slithering, oily snake, Ocon, ruin his...
Yeah.
He was like, bitch, don't kill my vibe. Bitch, don't kill my vibe. He is a great man.
Yes.
And all you people who like Ocon, all you people who like the non-playable character that is Ocon, because he's nice, because he's estimated. First of all, he's not a nice guy. Second of all, Alex Albon's right there. Let's just, you know when they talk about like making the switch from, Mac to PC to Mac, or BlackBerry to iPhone. It's time for all of you Ocon fans to just switch over to Albon.
Yeah,
he hits the same spot in a much better way.
It'll be an easy transfer. Like your emails just go right over. Like you don't have to worry about it. It's like it's not going to be arduous. Like you just go over to alexalbon.com and download all of your fucking love and information onto that platform, and you'll be ready to go.
All of your contacts will go over. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alex Albon's girlfriend is awesome.
Yeah.
If you're just going for a nice, cute, relatable king.
Yeah.
Alex Albon, he's right fucking there.
Who's had to overcome, Alex Albon's had to overcome, personal history. He's got, he's had a tough road.
His mom was in prison.
Yeah.
He became the man of the house at a very young age. I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah.
What more do you want?
Well, you threw up that hot, sexy take, and you sent it to me, and I was like, this is spicy, but I'll be damned if he's not making amazing points. And you threw it up, and most of the response has been very positive. The people you're speaking to a very robust base here.
Well, it's really challenging to be ahead of the curve all the goddamn time.
Yes, dude.
But I think people I saw Ocon very early on. I was like, oh, I don't like this guy. But I think, and that was tough. You know, being the guy, being like, guys, what if the Earth is round? That's me essentially.
Right. Dude, you're
and
Galileo.
Everyone's out here being the Catholic Church, being like, nah, son, Earth is flat.
Right.
And I'm out here being like, no, the Earth is round.
Yeah, it's called it's called the scientific method, and what you pointed out in your straight to cam on IG and TT was very accurate. You like drivers, and let's break.
No, and I have a fourth category. We're gonna go through it right now. So I got three main categories. But I think there's a wild card fourth category that I want to get into.
Yeah, for liking a driver. These are the categories. This is the criteria of why you should like a driver.
Or why I think people like drivers. My opinion, but they tend to be right. I tend to be I'll be like 100 years after I'm dead, everyone's going to go through my tapes and be like, this guy was a fucking genius, but everyone hated him in the time. So, number one, they're good at what they do. Mm-hmm. Now, this is Max, this is Lewis, this is Alonso, right? These are guys who are they fucking win. They bring home the bacon. Yeah. They come home, they drop the dick off, they blow your back out. They're good at what they do, okay?
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
Number two, they're hot as shit.
Yeah.
All right, this is your Leclercs, your Carlos Sainz, your Pierre Gasly's. And now those are the hot ones, right? You like them because they're hot,
right?
Now I'm gonna nuance this later, so don't fucking come at me.
Yeah.
Number three is they are perfect baby angels. That need to be protected at all costs. They are quote unquote nice guys. Yes. In this category, you have Daniel Ricciardo, you have Yuki Tsunoda, you have Alex Albon, you have the cute, precious, nice guys. Now. Before you come at me, some of these drivers check more of these boxes. So Lewis Hamilton, fast, One of the best to ever do it. He's hot, posting a lot of thirst trap. And he's trying to save the fucking world. He's a nice guy. Yeah. So that speaks to his insane popularity. Charles Leclerc, very fucking hot, pretty fucking fast, seems like a nice guy. Yeah. Right? So, the superstars, they check all these boxes. But Ocon, really his whole thing is that he's esty-bestie. Look at him. He's cute. He's nice. He's not a nice guy. He is a snake, okay? Which would be okay if he was a snake. Alonso's a snake. But he's also very fast. But there's a fourth category that I missed, Brian.
I think I know what it's going to be, but you go.
It is entertainment value / memeability. Do you entertain?
Yes.
Do you walk out into the arena like Maximus and then go, "Are you not entertained?"
Yes.
Okay? And that is where George Russell's like -1,000 and all of these other facets, right?
Right.
But now I'm realizing that he is so goddamn entertained. Like he's 2,000 out of 100 in these other respects.
Yeah, it's like when you play a character like on Madden or any sports game, you have like they get ratings on different categories: speed, catching, driving. If you play on the F1
awareness,
all this shit. George Russell is he's breaking the thermometer. It's bursting, and mercury is getting everywhere.
Fucking roof. It's unbelievable, and it can't be denied anymore. Yeah. And that is why he has gone into my. I like him now because all the other stuff is garbage. It's in the shitter. Right. But he's got such a powerful engine when it comes to his entertainment value. Yeah. He's so quick on the goddamn straights of being entertaining.
He's a Williams. He's a Williams.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the guys who are just pure like the most entertaining. I mean, that's why I think Leclerc is such a good example. Like Leclerc is very hot. He's very fast. He seems like a nice guy, and he's memeable. Like he's very memeable. His radios are good. God, very fast.
Why am I so unlucky?
Exactly.
God.
I don't think Carlos. I think Carlos is I think he's less fast than Leclerc, but I also think he's less entertaining. He's not as entertaining as Leclerc.
Totally.
Those other metrics might be about even in terms of his hotness and his niceness, but.
I would add one last, maybe this is like a qualifier.
Fifth category? Wow.
It's a
little unwieldy, but
it's
my list. Create your own list.
It's a what you see is what you get category.
Oh.
Because I think
a purity.
It's like a transparency or an honesty. It's an honesty category, and I think and that's what Ocon is at the very bottom of, because he's pretending to be a nice guy, but he's actually an asshole. This is people's gripe on Lewis, is that his public persona is one thing and behind closed door it might be another. This is why people love Max, because they're just like, yeah, he's an asshole, but what you see is what you get. I think that level of how well do I feel
There's
like
too
I
much
know
dissonance.
Right. Yes.
But I think the dissonance can also be iconic. I'm now realizing that the George Russell effect.
He's a king of dissonance.
He's the king of, but he's so shitty at it. It's not even good. He comes out like, I'm a company man. I love Lewis. I love Mercedes. And then he's literally on the radio in front of millions of billions of people. He's being an absolute psychopath. So he's just.
Are we really doing this? I'm sorry. I thought we were a team.
I've been quiet this whole time. It's like.
Yeah,
you haven't been quiet. You're speaking right now.
Are we teammates? Or are we monsters? That's the George Russell tune, baby.
You know what's so funny?
Yes.
And I remember we were going into a negotiation, and it was like my dad and everything's fine in our life. But I remember in Hollywood, we go into negotiations, and sometimes they could get sticky.
Yeah.
And my dad always has these old chestnuts. There's some great chestnuts from old Jews.
Yeah.
When it comes to negotiating.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were going into negotiation, and I'm going to name check, it doesn't matter, but Rob Reiner, his whole thing was you stand tall and then you cave, which I've taken
right
with me. I've carried with me throughout my whole life.
Yeah, it's a good phrase. Yeah,
but my dad has another one. He goes, if it doesn't work out, you just look him in the eye and you tell him, "Are we men or are we vultures?"
Yeah,
and I thought, are we men or are we vultures?
Yeah, that's what George Russell. That's what George Russell
was asking them.
Constantly saying
but
on the radio.
He's literally a vulture asking that question. He's literally going, "Are we men or are we vultures?" He's literally a vulture asking that question.
Yeah, truly.
He's a vulture in a fucking tuxedo.
Yeah,
asking that question, dressed as a man.
Yeah. Being like, "Are we vulture?" Everyone's like, I'm pretty sure you're a vulture. And he goes, he goes, "Would a vulture wear a tuxedo?"
But let me just say this.
Yeah.
I love George Russell.
Yeah.
I will back him. This is a compliment.
Yeah, we're back on him.
And we're never leaving. I've literally burned the ships behind me. I can't leave. I'm on George Russell Island and I've lit all I built that boat from Castaway to get off. I took all my resources.
Right.
I harvested all the resources to build the boat to get off of the island, and they lit it on fire.
Yeah.
I'm here.
and George is Wilson.
And I punted Wilson. I'm just raw dogging George Russell for the rest of my goddamn life.
We're going to get more into Merc because we got to talk about Merc. We're going to get into a lot of stuff because this was a kind of crazy week. Kind of crazy weekend, boring, but also very interesting. But before we do that, we got to thank our daddies in the pod. We got to thank Kayla, Robin, Jordan Texera, Jay Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier Mera, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Luana Galbano, Ali Santana, Carla Quarlo, Kimberly Whalen, Alonso Over My Face, 69, Donya Denad, Jimmy, Mohammed Patel. Mohammed, I'm sorry that I couldn't watch the race the other day. I broke my foot. We'll get into that. He's in New York right now, and I can't hang out with Daddy Mohammed. Daddy Muhammad's in New York.
Fucking cut your foot off and let's
I know, dude. Dude,
what are you
Daddy
doing?
Muhammad's so cool. I just
invite Daddy Muhammad to the house.
To my house. He'll have dinner with my fam.
Yeah. Have Chinese food with the fam.
Yeah, exactly. Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Hollister 584, Live Lot, Cat, Future Dog Tour Dion, Steph Grossi, JB Fresh, Laura, Emily Gillenwater, Cody Hull is my F1 daddy, and Branch W. If you want to become a daddy of the pod, you can go to patreon.com/TRFpod and become one. Also, we got some fall merchandise that is out now. We got hoodies, we got sweatshirts, we got all your faves in fall, cold, cuddle up by the fire. Get them right now. Right now, if you spend $50, you get 10% off of your order. If you spend $100, you get 20% off your orders at theredflagspod.com. That's theredflagspod.com.
If you buy it now, you'll have it by Christmas.
It takes a minute, but the quality is good. I'm wearing the Alonso shirt right now because Fernando Alonso is the fucking god, dude. All right, let's talk.
You guys really subscribe to Patreon. Brian has shitty health insurance.
Yes.
What's your out-of-pocket max?
It's $8,700 is my out-of-pocket max.
There you go.
I'm probably going to be in $8,700 for maybe surgery because I broke my foot and it's fucking cracked up. It's a serious. It looks like
it looks like Fernando Alonso's car after Ocon fucking destroyed it.
Yeah, it's a slow speed curve. Let's just say that. Okay, that's what my fifth metatarsal looks like now. But apparently, I don't need surgery. We will see. If I do need surgery, I will definitely hit the 8,700.
Honestly,
out of pocket
8,700 is not that bad.
It's not that bad. But subscribe to the Patreon because I need money for that. Okay.
No, but here's the thing: is when you hit the 8,700, Brian.
Yes.
You should start getting all sorts of shit done.
Right.
Like
no. Well, here's the thing: it runs out at the end of the year, dude. I know.
Because I had a deviated septum. I hit my out-of-pocket max, which was like $5K, $6K, or something like that, and I was like, and I had pretty good insurance. So like, I think your insurance, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I was like, should I take care of my deviated septum? Yeah. I told my dad, I think I might fix my nose. He's like, you're gonna get a nose job? I was like, no, like not
breathing.
No, I'm not getting for breathing. He was like, oh, okay.
No, I have a beautiful Daniel Ricciardo nose. Shut up, Dad.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk this whole weekend. Where do you want to start?
We could start with the sprints. I mean, the sprint was cool.
Yeah.
Sprint was cool. I mean,
it's like I gotta say, all the drivers talk so much shit about this. I know that they hate it, but like the sprints are always. Even this one was still fun and good.
Yeah,
right?
I get. Right,
I get why they don't like it. It's more work.
I get why because it's more work for them.
Yeah,
I get it. But they're not playing a contact sport, so they're there.
They are like kind of hammering them all. It feels like there've been a bunch in the end of the year, so it kind of feels like, whoa, this is like a lot in a row. They should do fewer races, period, and keep the sprints. That's what I think. Anyway.
And it also, I think Max's big point was that it just kind of ruins the surprise. Like you kind of like, it's like you're about to watch a strip because the weekend's like a strip tease. You're like,
yeah,
you that's the best case scenario. Right. It's like a slow unveiling of the goods.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is great. And then what the sprint is a quick flash of everything. Then they cover it back up.
Right.
And then they're like, and then they go back to the sultry music. It's like, wait a minute, I just saw everything.
Wow, that's really good.
That's what Max is saying because it's like, okay, we saw what happened. It's like Merck sucks. Like they're gonna drop like stones. Ferrari's gonna drop like you kind of the beauty of a weekend is you're kind of like left on tenterhooks or whatever the phrase is. And Sunday's like Christmas morning where you go down and you're like, okay.
Right.
Who's got the pace? Like you qualifying, you're like, okay, these guys got one lap pace, but who's got the real pace?
Yeah. And it's ironic that Max Verstappen is saying that it ruins the surprise because you know what ruins the surprise every week? Max Verstappen. He ruins the surprise every week. Anyway, but
no, but I hear what he's saying.
I know that's a good point. It's a good point.
And he's right. I forgot who put this forward, but what they should do is they should allow them to fuck with the setups. So then that would. So you could set up for a sprint, and then you could
not have park for May.
Then you actually would know. But then you actually wouldn't know because you're like, oh, they're doing different setups,
right?
And then you wouldn't have these problems where they like don't have enough time to set up, and they could recalibrate, and you're not trying to set up for two things, which seems stupid, and also because Mercedes can't seem to do it because they're too stupid. But
Mercedes is fucking insane. Okay, but let's do you want to talk about?
The sprint, okay, well, you have the Ocon Alonso crash. There are people, I blew my load here on the TikTok. You can watch that. But basically, I don't think actually Ocon should have been penalized. But he lost the car, and Ocon, he just lost the car. It wasn't and Alonso was there. He turned in at the last second. He did turn in, but he left.
He turned in a little bit because he was like, "Oh well, you're a capable Formula One driver, right?" So I'm certainly over to the right, and so and then
he lost the car. He lost control of the car, and then he had the gall to say Fernando was an idiot.
And he was also like, "I didn't lose the car. I didn't lose the car. I didn't lose the car. No, everyone was going off like that." I was like, "Not like you, babe. Not like you."
No, to be fair, Lando did go off when he got pole. Like he lost the car, saved it, still got pole.
Right.
But he was like, but to say that to watch the onboard and still take zero responsibility is just like a dick.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a dick move.
Yeah.
Crazy. And Fernando was just like called him basically immature.
Right.
I mean, and I said this on my TikTok, but I'll just say it again. If you watch Grill the Grid, the drivers, they don't like him.
Yeah.
They had to name all the race winners by the alphabet. And A
came around.
Okay, Alonso, Ascari, whatever, and they struggled, but when they got to H, they're like, oh, Hamilton, whatever.
Right.
And then it got to O. And they were like, he's on the grid with you. He's French. They gave him, and then they were, and Alonso was like, pass. Next question.
Right.
Carlos Sainz went, Alonso? Lando made the you just put fish, the sushi face that he made with, the face that only 5-year-old kids and Lando Norris makes. They're like,
yeah.
And he's like, I just don't want to say his name. like, you don't know who he is, and Lando's like, I just don't want to say his name.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
I'm abstaining.
And his best friend on the grid is Lance Stroll. So there you go.
Yeah.
Nothing,
and Mick Schumacher.
And Mick Schumacher. So there you go.
His buddies. Yeah, but what was the? I mean,
Sprint shootout was cool. There was a lot of overtakes.
It was shootout. I mean, Yuki fucking Tsunoda, dude. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda had a weekend. After last week, after his crash, which we were, we were giving him some shit. We were, he fucked up.
He did drive off again this week in the race.
He did. When he went on the grass.
But he kept it, and he saved it and managed to get points in a race where like 3 cars finished. But continue. I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
But
he avoided the tire, and he dodged the tire, which Daniel Ricciardo did not.
That's right. He dodged the tire.
Yuki was out there, like they were both, like you could see them both be like, "Oh shit!" Like,
dude, the tire was the green shell, dude, and it wasn't honing in on anyone. It was just coming for whoever, and that was.
We can get into the start right now. I mean, the start of that race.
Yes.
Fuck the sprint race. Fuck.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The only thing that matters is that Yuki Tsunoda passing Lewis Hamilton on the straight.
Oh my God, we have to exactly. How dead inside of you, and it happened again, right? Because
I know it happened. It happened during the race. It happened during the race today. Yeah.
Yeah. How dead inside are you as Lewis Hamilton to watch Yuki Tsunoda, who I love, but he's in an AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
Yuki Tsunoda and AlphaTauri just fucking fly by you.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely. I mean, let's not forget that Aston Martin learned how to putt again.
Yes.
And because they were like, remember we tried to do our own thing? Remember we tried to make original music instead of doing covers? Yeah. Let's just go back to doing covers.
Right. Yeah, is that what they did? Is that what they did? They went back to like the OG setups.
I'm being facetious. Their new upgrades sucked.
Yeah.
So they took like half their upgrades and then put the old car back.
Oh, yeah, great.
They took some upgrades that worked and some upgrades that didn't.
Yeah, Frankenstein it into still being better than the fucking Mercedes-Benz team. The original team, the hub.
This is the curve this is my other Galileo tip.
Yeah.
Mercedes is a poorly run organization.
It is.
I don't know when they're going to catch up to us.
Yeah.
But let me just say this. Mike Elliott was
yes.
retired.
Yes. Yeah, he
retired.
He left
after getting
on his
First, there was the Allison. There was Allison and Elliott. Allison was like chief. I forgot the fucking dumb.
Yeah, it's chief technical
corporate
officer.
babble.
Yeah,
but Allison was above Elliott.
Yes,
Elliott was like on the ground with the car, and Allison was like in charge of like the big quote unquote the big picture, right?
Yeah.
And Allison apparently was like he was the bigger picture guy, and he wanted to have time to like work on like sailing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, okay, like how fucking white are these guys that like Formula One is not enough? It's not an elite enough sport. They got to be out in the sea. But anyway, but obviously so instead of like firing Mike Elliott, then they're like, we're going to actually switch them. And Mike Elliott like technically got a promotion where they brought James Allison down into the mud so he couldn't go sailing anymore. Yeah. So he like surveyed the day-to-day with the car development. Right. Mike Elliott's more of a big picture guy. He's more of an ideas guy. We're going to put Mike Elliott up. We're going to promote him to oversee the bigger picture, which is a actually longer term, probably job where you're like, like your time horizon is like 5 years instead of 2 years or whatever the fuck it is. You're like you're thinking about like how to make Mercedes racing team net zero type shit. That's like
it's like hey, are you the head of the studio or are you the director of the movie? You know what I mean? Like if you're the head of the studio, you're thinking about like
the head of the studio.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And why did he? I don't understand if he was like actually because Toto Wolff said, "Oh, he was, this was a planned retirement. He was tired."
I mean, it's such corporate bullshit. It's such corporate bullshit.
You don't take that job if you're planning to retire at the end of the year.
Right, so it's lying. He's lying.
He's lying.
When I say it's corporate bullshit, I mean that he's lying. They say that he wants to leave for personal reasons. He wants to spend. Hey, guess what? There have been a lot of guys who had a good run, and then the team started to suck, and then all of a sudden they want to spend time with their family. You know what I mean? That's what happens in sports. All of a sudden, when you start losing, you want to spend time with your family. I miss my family. When you're on top, very rarely do you win the Super Bowl, and then you say, you know what?
It's crazy how that works.
I want to spend some time. I need to spend more time with my family. No. You keep playing until the dip starts, and then all of a sudden you care about your wife and kids. That's what happens.
No, it's crazy. I mean, it would have had a scintilla.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been able to suspend my disbelief if that stupid fucking switch hadn't happened early, 6 months ago.
Yes. Totally.
Did he not want to spend time with his family 6 months ago? So in 6 months, he's decided so 6 months he didn't want to spend more time with his family. He wanted to actually focus more on whatever, on sustainability or like building solar panels on the fucking whatever. Whatever the fuck they do.
The larger brand, the
larger brand.
Yes.
He went, and then he had like It's a Wonderful Life moment.
Yeah.
And that's what they think we're supposed to. And the media is just, here's the thing, is like the media, whether it's, print or even on like Twitter or X or whatever the fuck you call it. Like, there's such a fetishization of like Ferrari being a disaster class.
Mm-hmm.
Of Renault being a disaster class.
Yep.
Of like, when there was all these guys heads rolling at Renault, typical Renault, heads rolling at Ferrari, typical Ferrari.
Yeah.
It's like, when is that gun that's always at the head of Ferrari or Renault? Let's actually drill down here.
And Red Bull.
These non-English brands.
Yes.
These brands are actually not traditionally, like, especially at Ferrari, which is an Italian-based brand.
Yes.
And Renault, which has its factory.
Yeah, of course, but it's a French brand
in England. But it's a French brand.
Yeah.
I mean, Mercedes.
And Mercedes is German, but the English are obsessed with Mercedes.
Well, because they have British drivers, and they have a British factory. But anyway,
right.
Whatever, doesn't matter. The point is they're bricked up for the British. They fly the British flag. France is literally, Renault is actually owned by partially owned by the French public. It's like a publicly owned company.
Yes.
The French. Yes. But anyway, my point is when is the gun that's pointed at them going to finally turn around? Because it's literally me. Yeah. I'm literally like you two, but like we're just two guys in the woods.
Yeah. Being like, is anyone seeing this shit? I mean, is anyone seeing this shit?
Yeah, we've
been on this kick. I mean, we've been on this kick all year.
Living in the fucking shed by ourselves, writing these manifestos in our own feces.
And then they say, you know what? They did a lot of bad things, but then I read the manifesto and he had a lot of good points. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's true. We've been saying this all year. Like, Toto Wolff is a fucking hack. And Mercedes is like, ain't all that. And Lewis and George at other times, we've been like, these guys are batting above their fucking weight class. The car's a shitbox.
Yeah, I mean, it's an embarrassment. I mean, Jenny pointed out, what are they going to do? Write another letter?
Yeah, dude.
Remember the letter?
Yeah. The fucking Mercedes letter. Should we read the letter again? Just to see how they've lived up to it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's like they made a letter, right? And now we'll see if they've lived up to the promises in that letter. Okay. This was the letter. Starting with, to all our fans, Bahrain hurt.
To all our Lewis fans is what they actually mean.
Yeah. To all our fans, Bahrain hurt. It hurt each one of us who head into every season determined to fight for world championships. It hurt the team as a whole after pouring so much hard work into the car that hasn't met our expectations. And we know it hurt you, our fans, too. Your passion and support are so important in driving us forward. And we know that we felt the same pain. The situation we face right now isn't the one any of us wanted, but it's the one we have. That's the reality of it. And the simple questions are, what can we do about it, and what will we do about it?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, you'll be like good here and there, and then ultimately it's still a fucking shitbox. That's what you'll you'll mismanage the drivers to the point where they fucking hate each other now, and it's a nightmare. First, we won't panic or make knee-jerk reactions.
We'll move a guy around like musical chairs, and then we'll
or move Mike Elliott to CTO after being in this other role, and then ultimately he leaves. But it's just because he wants to spend time with his family. That's not a knee jerk reaction at all. Definitely not. Yeah. And we're not definitely gonna move this kid who's in Formula Euro skip Formula 3 into Formula 2 because we need a new driver.
Yeah,
we're not making knee jerk reactions. Okay, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. What we will be doing is getting elective knee surgery.
We're not throwing a child into F1 because George Russell just ain't cutting it.
Yeah. In a spotlight as fierce as F1, people are quick to point fingers or look for scapegoats. But you know us better than that. Inside the team, we talk about having the courage to fail, the character to be accountable, and the strength to see failure as an opportunity. We have been open and searingly honest about where we find ourselves. We're working urgently and calmly to build our recovery plan, focusing on what needs to happen short-term, medium-term, and long-term to win. They love like a bop, bop, bop. They hit it in threes. We already have developments in the pipeline for the next races, and there will be more to come. But this won't be the work of the moment. There are no silver bullets in F1, just the silver arrows. Second, we will keep our heads held high, take this journey step by step together. We are Mercedes. We are Mercedes. We know the standards we aspire to, and nobody is flinching when we look at the mountain we must climb. It won't be easy, but where's the value in something easy? These are the times where character is forged, the time when a team becomes greater than the sum of its parts.
I feel like they really liked it when it was easy.
Yeah, they loved it when it was easy, dude. It was easy for fucking 7 years. They built the building on something that was easy.
It was easy.
When it was
easy. You know who loves it when it's hard? Christian Horner.
Yes, dude.
Christian Horner lives. Christian Horner's constantly trying to make it hard for himself.
Yes.
He's inventing demons. You know?
Yeah.
They're saying that we cheated. They're saying this about us. They're saying that everybody's coming to get us, you know? He's got this victim mentality always. Anyway.
Right. It's like our friend who was always constantly complaining about being broke, and then he got this job and he started making money, and then he bought a house, so now he's house poor. So he has a house now, but he's still I don't have any money. Because where you are is where you are. How you're built.
Jesus. Yeah, I just got who you is.
How you're built is how you function. And Mercedes and Toto love to talk in this way. They love to pontificate about challenge. But as challenge, and they love to be even today after the race, he was like, the car was slick, it's terrible. I mean, Lewis shouldn't have to drive the car. They shouldn't have to do this. They love to overtake accountability, and overpromise and underdeliver is what they love.
And they're also like this. They're also you know what they remind me of is when someone acts atrociously,
yeah,
and they go, "That wasn't me." It just was. That wasn't who. It's no,
right, right.
It's this isn't us. It's no, it is who you are right now.
Yeah, it's a part of you. And the more you accept that it's a part of you, actually,
exactly.
the closer you'll be towards acceptance and truth.
Towards bottoming out.
Yes.
But they're this isn't us. That wasn't me back there. That wasn't me. That was somebody else. It's no, it wasn't, dude. That was
yeah.
Okay, take no accountability for what that was back there.
Right.
You know what I mean? I hate when people say that wasn't me.
Right.
Because then you never. True. Where's the opportunity for growth? I think, and I think that culture, that lack of. I mean, I do think that there is a bit of I think there is something to gain from being publicly it's nobody's fault, and then privately.
Yes.
Okay, let's start pointing some fingers here. Let's start taking some accountability because you don't want to hang people out to dry.
Sure.
But
yeah.
I get that because you don't want to start pointing fingers publicly. I understand that, but I don't think I can infer that it's not happening inwardly just based on what's going on with George Russell.
Yeah,
which is he just keeps running into the same wall, literally, which is the back of Lewis Hamilton's car. Right?
Yeah.
where he just kind of he said something really. I mean, it was lots of funny moments. We get into that too, but he was like, "Are we working together, or are we just running our own race?" And I thought,
right.
he could benefit from just running his own race, just figuring out because he's so. And I think what separates him, what separates like great drivers from like just mid like drivers that annoy me, is like great drivers are like, how can I just be the best that I can be?
Yeah.
And just like good to mid drivers are just like, where's my teammate?
Yeah. Like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
And it's just like, just worry about yourself.
Right.
Like Lewis is not thinking about George. Lewis is like, how do I make the most out of my tires?
Right.
And it's like always the tortoise in the hare.
Yeah.
And it's like, George is like, I'm faster. It's like, maybe because you're fucking up your tires right now. And Lewis is saving them.
Right. Yeah.
Because he fell once Sainz got him, he fell off a cliff because he only cares about being and he makes the same mistake over and over again.
I know.
Is he runs. He rushes up to Lewis and he's like, I'm behind Lewis. Let me through. And they're always like, no. And then it's like maybe he should just focus on his own thing, not try to.
And
rush.
they were right to not let him go because look what happened. I mean, they retired him because they were just like, oh, he's fucked. Like the tires are dead.
Nobody can't cool his. He doesn't want to take care of his car. He can't take care of the car. There was a temperature problem.
Right.
Now the car sucked at cooling, but that's part of it. That's a driver thing, is being able to cool the car, like laying off the car, and part of the and he was like, I'm faster than Lewis, and it's like, yeah, for now.
Yeah.
You're faster than Lewis for now, and I think the second they let him by, let's say they let him by Lewis, he'd slow down because he's like, oh, thank God I'm by Lewis. You know what I mean? And whenever he's in front of Lewis.
Yeah,
he's like he's slow. He gets to the end of the stint and he's too slow. And he's like, no. And they're like, George, can you speed it up? He's like, definitely. And then he's in the wall.
Yeah.
So I think there's like, it seems like there's like no interrogation of like why he keeps running into this problem. He keeps just running into the same wall, and there's no honesty about like what he could change, what he could learn. Yeah, I mean, let's just get into the iconic parts of it, which is like, I think we should work. We're going to work together, and then one lap later, he's like, okay, he's got to let me through. Come on, this is crazy. It was like one lap later.
Yeah,
it was Ron Burgundy style. Like, I just watched that movie again last night. He was like, I immediately regret this decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was this race to me was everybody was checking off their cliches, right? George Russell was George Russell.
Yep.
Like, are we going to let me through? Like, what are we doing here? Like, you want me to concede? You want me to save my tires and concede positions? You want me to race? And they're like, both.
Yeah,
which is kind of what Lewis does. Lewis manages. They're like, I don't know, figure it out, dude. Lewis does it.
Right.
Lewis figures it out. Lewis manages to not fuck everything up and save his places, right?
Yeah.
Although he did get got by Lance at the end, which was just that was like Yuki Tsunoda 2.0. It's like Lance Stroll gets you at the end. Just shameful. Just absolutely shameful. But George Russell ran into the brick wall of Lewis and his own psyche.
Yep.
Charles Leclerc is the most unlucky person to ever live.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's actually like self-aware now. It's amazing.
Right.
It's meta now.
Yes.
He like reads his own replies and he's like, "Why am I so unlucky?"
That was great. That was beautiful. I mean, I can it's the beginning of the race. Like, I'm getting all my stuff ready.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
I had my dick out, Brian. I had my dick out. I was peeing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pee. Had my dick out midstream. I hear, and the car was in the wall. I had to pinch it off. I had to pinch off my own pee.
Right.
And run to the television.
No, because it's literally like the formation lap is the time where you're like, you get everything set. It's like, oh shit, let me go get something from the kitchen. I come back, Leclerc's in the wall. It's like, and I'm staying with my parents right now, and they're like, they're asking me a bunch of questions, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling them, they're like, why isn't Ferrari good? To the novice fan, they're like, why isn't Ferrari good? And I'm like, is it Charles's fault? And I'm like, well, Charles can be he can be mistake prone, but the organization, they just can't seem to ever get it right. They just always mess something up, whether it's the strategy, whether it's the aero, the engine, the reliability. There's always something goes wrong. They're a cursed organization. And so then I'm they're eating breakfast or lunch or whatever, and then I'm watching, and then I just go, oh my God, Leclerc's to the wall. My parents rush into the room, and they're like, how the fuck did that happen? Has the race even started yet? I'm like, no! And they're like, wow, you were right.
What's really sad is I was like, I thought he did it himself. I was like 50-50.
Yes.
I was like, oh, did he do it himself? And then he goes,
yes.
I lost hydraulics.
Yeah.
I lost hydraulics. Why am I so unlucky? And I went, wow, man. He knows. He knows what the internet knows.
He knows.
He said the quiet part out loud.
He did say the quiet part out loud. Maybe he'll start the acknowledgement of it.
He jinxed it. He jinxed.
Yeah,
maybe he jinxed the jinx.
Yeah, maybe it's if there's a ghost in your house. I listen to this podcast, and they're just like, sometimes you can just ask the ghost to leave, and then they'll
what's
leave.
Funny? It's like when you have when your guy's doing well, you don't mention it. Maybe if you because then the guy will suck. Maybe if he just mentions that he's unlucky, that will have the reverse effect.
But then he's still with Ferrari, Scuderia Ferrari, so I don't think that will be the reverse effect.
It was such a horrible. I was as a Charles Leclerc fan and a Carlos Sainz Delulu hater.
Yeah.
Just seeing Charles Leclerc literally running through the fields. Running up a hill in his helmet, in his full shit, doing and then Brundle was like, that's a serious, that's all uphill, that's a real run that he's doing right now. And then just seeing Carlos Sainz just fucking running his hand through his fucking hair for the 10 millionth time, looking he doesn't have a care in the world. I was just, as he's going to just sashay into beating him in the points, as Charles Leclerc has 9,000 DNSs and disqualifications and things that are completely out of his control. I was so fucking angry.
Well, it was this thing where it's because of the red flag, then there was a situation where I think that he maybe thought that they could bring the car back. They could bring the car, and so he's talking to one of the guys, and he's like, they could bring the car, they could bring the car back, and I'm like, oh, this is so desperate, and Brundle's like, well, he got out of the car, and they're not going to be able to do. It's against the rules for them to race the car at this point. And Charles is just running uphill, Sisyphus, pushing this fucking boulder up the mountain that is the Scuderia Ferrari, and then Carlos Sainz is at the top of the hill, boop, and then it just rolls back down again.
God damn it!
Oh,
and then
man.
he had the goal. It was he was like, this clutch isn't great.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like this. This is it's
right,
okay,
right.
Dude. All right, you did your engine? Did you lose steering?
Yeah.
In the warm up lap. He's like, these revs could have gone a little bit better for me. I was like,
Carlos had to throw his complaint into the
narrative,
ring,
and me too. We're both cursed. It's like, no, dude. No, dude.
No, dude.
This guy, you know what it is? I figured out what it is with Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
You know what he is, dude?
What?
And this is a millennial reference. He is Brendan Fraser from Bedazzled. He made the wish to what's her face? Oh God, she's one of the hottest women of that time. She was in Austin Powers.
Elizabeth
she plays
Hurley.
the devil. Elizabeth Hurley. He makes a wish to Elizabeth Hurley. He says, Brendan Fraser says, I want to be the most handsomest, fastest Formula One driver to ever live.
Yeah.
And I want to drive for Ferrari. And she goes, done.
Yes.
And in this movie, Bedazzled, she gives you your wish, but you have one thing that's spectacularly fucked up about it. Mm-hmm. You can't have it all. Have you not seen this movie, Brian?
It's been. I do remember this. He's a basketball player at one point or something.
She makes him he's like, I want to be a basketball player. I want to be the best basketball player ever, and I want to be 6'8". And she makes him 6'8". And then she makes the love of his life a reporter, so they're in a perfect meet cute situation.
Yeah.
And he's got a micro penis. she that's that, and that happens literally. He makes 10 wishes, and they're all like that. They're all he's got everything, but there's just this one thing that keeps him, unable to fulfill the promise.
Because Charles Leclerc made a deal with the devil, and the devil is Ferrari. That's what it is. That's the situation that he's in.
Yes.
He made a deal with the fucking devil.
That's right.
Then Carlos Sainz is like the devil's hot son.
He's little Nicky. He's little Nicky, but hot.
Yeah. And he's just
from the South. And they both talk weird, so it's perfect.
Yeah. The deep South. The deep South.
The deep
South. Oh, man. That was fucking brutal. I mean, you have to laugh. At this point, you have to laugh. People talk about
there were other cliches, right? Kevin Magnussen just being an absolute hazard.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the start. Let's talk about this start, because this was chaos. Charles goes, the warm-up lap. Charles fucking beefs it in the wall. That kind of delays it a little bit, or does it? Because he gets out. So they're like, no, we're still doing this race. Like, we're still going. We don't care. Like, we're doing the race. What was crazy is, I don't know did you notice that the 5 lights, they were on there for a while. There was like a fake out today.
Oh, yeah, another red flag, dude. The Rolex bridge, just like I couldn't see anything. Get rid of that bridge. That fucking bridge sucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. But it's like the 5 red lights go out and then go on, and then they go out, and that's the start of the race. Yeah. Today was like the 5. Usually it's like bup 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 boop, and then it starts. Yeah. Today it was like bup 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 bup. Oh, now you go, and I was like, oh shit! Like I was thrown for a loop. I think even Brundle was like, whoa, that's a. So it was already like we're throwing a little wrench in, because they were the timing was off. I mean the Lando and Lewis just are like, Aston Martins, get the fuck out of my way. Just totally
it was crazy. It was like Alonso. I love when they point the car like so dramatically. Yes. Alonso had his dick pointed right at Lance.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you worried about Lance? He's going like, what is it? He's like, I got Lance covered, and then it's like, obviously Lando's the guy that you need to worry about. And Lando's like, thank you.
Yes, yeah, literally.
And Fernando was iconic. Fernando was like aimed at Lance. He's like, I got you. And he was like, oh shit! And he tried to turn back, and it was too late.
Yeah, he tried to save it.
He lost. He tried to save it.
Yeah, but, so that happens, and then Albon gets a good
letter from McLaren, by the way. They just fucking fixed it. Anyway,
right? Yeah,
they just handled their shit.
So Albon gets this great jump,
which is almost like a bad thing.
Yeah,
because when you get a bad jump, you're like, then you're between the two cars.
Right, and he passes Hulkenberg. Or he gets Hulkenberg has a bad jump. Fucking Albon has a good jump. He gets over to the right. K-Mags there too on the left, and just like squeezes just as like there's all this room to the left.
Yeah, that's why it's his fault. That's why there was
just so much room to the left.
Yeah.
But he, for whatever reason, he didn't. He's
about that action, boss.
It's about that action. People like to say that they're getting along, or but he's losing out to Hulkenberg. So I think his mind is somewhat on Hulkenberg. Like he's losing this. It's been a season where he's looked like the lesser driver. So he's like, I think he's concerned with Hulkenberg. So he squeezes Hulkenberg, and then Albon's next to him. Slows down, crashes, Hulkenberg hits the corner, the rear left of Albon. Albon then careens in, hits Magnussen. So the guy who caused the crash actually, got fucked for it, which is, sometimes doesn't happen. And then, and then it was just chaos. The tire, popping off.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing dodging the tire. That was dangerous. I mean, if it's like
wasn't a full tire,
but it's still heavy, dude. Like that thing's going fast.
That's why I keep saying this. They should do what IndyCar does and just have the glass.
Yeah,
looks like shit, but it's one day something's gonna fly through.
Yeah,
Because like the halo will cover like a big thing, but like one day like a part is just gonna like
right. It doesn't break out. It doesn't protect you from a part. Like what happened to Felipe Massa would still happen. Yeah. Yeah. So just carnage on the opening lap, just chaos. Yeah, they do. I was worried. I was like, oh, are they going to get through a sector? Like, are they going to have to restart this from the original grid? But they did the safety car for enough time that they actually did get through a sector. They didn't red flag it immediately, which I liked because I don't like when they do that and then because you didn't get through a sector, you have to like everything starts from zero.
Yeah, Gasly was pissed because Ocon also did that. Ocon was like, Gasly had a good start.
Mm-hmm.
And Ocon was like, no, fuck off. And then and then Gasly had to check up like a lot to like avoid anything.
Right.
And then he got a little bit, like he got kind of caught up.
Right.
And then Gasly started his radio with, honestly, guys, like honestly. And he goes, and then he just goes, somebody was looking in their mirrors a lot more than I would have. And that's like all I'm going to say about that. Because Ocon only really gives a shit about his teammate. That's all he really cares about.
Right.
And what was amazing is on the restart, and now I'm really locked in on the Gasly Ocon battle now.
Right. Yeah.
Gasly fucking just because Gasly's now behind Ocon.
Yeah.
You know, he was behind him before, but anyway, Gasly fucking like sends it on Ocon, like gets him, like has a great start. And you see Ocon like try to like stop him, but his start was too bad, and he knew that he couldn't. And he like corrects, and then just like smoke, like locks up, like that's the thing. Is like his teammate passing him was like so catastrophic that it like compromised the rest of his race.
Yeah, then he flat spotted his tire.
He flat spotted his tires because he's like, oh no, that's my teammate. You know what I mean? It's like if it was just another car, he probably wouldn't have freaked out that much. Anyway, that's what goes to my theory. Like, you get too worried about your teammate, it kind of compromises you. Like, it could compromise your whole shit.
Totally. And what's interesting is that if you get too focused on a specific driver or a specific person, that can compromise your thing. And actually, it compromised Red Bull a bit today because when Perez was like, why are we pitting now? Like, why are we worried about Hamilton? Like, why are we worried about the Mercedes?
Yeah, they suck.
Like we
I've
all saw this.
The Red Flags. I've been listening to the Red Flags podcast.
Yeah, I listen to the Red Flags podcast every week, and I know that they're incompetent. Why don't you guys? But and it's like we saw them yesterday at the sprint. Like Yuki Tsunoda was fucking dusting these guys. Like we're like they're not a threat, and because they pitted. They like
he could have had better tires for the Alonso match.
Exactly. So they actually like kind of compromised his later race because they pitted him early because they were worried about Hamilton. They were worried about the Mercedes.
But their basic response to him was like, "You have the pace," which is I feel like the subtext of that was like, "We gave you a rocket ship." Just
right. Yeah.
We really quibbling about should we stop 5 laps later? If it doesn't match, look how far ahead Max is. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
They literally just said, you have the pace. The subtext of that is you are in the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
Somehow Max is just able to press that button where everything goes. Because like in the Star Wars, right? Whenever they're in trouble, Han Solo can like press that button.
And it goes into warp speed.
It goes into warp speed and they're fine.
Right.
And Max has that button. It's called insane talent.
Yes.
And it just... He can do it, and it doesn't seem like Sergio. He doesn't seem like he can hit that button. You know, like he did it today, right? Lando was like, "I'm gonna get you."
Yeah.
And Max was like, "Oh shit, I've been
right.
I should stop reading the New York Times or whatever the fuck I'm doing."
Yeah.
Or Brundle thought that Max was like, "I'll let you chew up your tires a little bit, give you false hope,
right,
then just fucking, and then let you eat my ass for a little bit, and then just just take off and leave some money on the dresser."
Right. When there's gas left in the car. It's like that's Max's, and that's what I've come to realize with all this kind of stuff. It's like, and the more you watch, this is also the thing when George is complaining about Lewis. It's like, well, I'm faster than him, and it's like, yeah, because he's not like any of these guys. especially the like top tier, it's like if they want to kick it into overdrive, they can kick it into overdrive, and that's what they all do. But I want to talk a little bit about Lando, because Lando, you know, I think what we said kind of happened. Like, he's kicked it into a new gear. Now, that gear is still not winning races, and he was not able to win the sprint.
Crucially not winning races still.
Crucially, still not winning races, but, like, today, he and Max, I mean, he was, like, 7-8 seconds behind Max, and then Alonso was, like, 30 seconds behind both of them. So they were, like, there were the tiers of, like, who's in the game right now, and, like, obviously Max is in a league of his own, but, like, Lando's kind of riding the bench of that. He's like, oh, there you are over there. Like,
Lando's in tier 2 by himself. It's tier 1,
yes.
Then tier 2. Tier 1 is Max. Tier 2 is Lando all by himself.
Yes.
And then, like, they trade for tier 3, kind of.
Yeah. And I think Oscar Piastri honestly woke him up. I do think that, like, what we said, like, Oscar winning that race, that poor performance when Oscar got the win in the sprint, and Lando was being very self-critical. Like, since then, he has kicked it into another gear. He looks better but this is what's becoming the thing with Lando is, like, his motivation. Like, he was motivated after that to put in these performances. The question will be, like, next year, what's the motivation going to be? And, like, will that stick around?
Well, I don't know. I'll let you interpret this more aggressively than I will. I'll just put it out there. He does this thing where he, like, you know, when he was on pole, he does this, like, aw shucks thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is this aw shucks bullshit?
Yeah, he likes it's kind of self-effacing a little bit. Like, he likes to kind of... Yeah, but
is it legitimate? Is it, or is it, like, faux? Is it faux humility?
Well, I don't know, because after the race, he posted a picture, like a selfie of Fernando, Max, and him, and he wrote, like, two world champions and me. And I think that there's a charm. There's obviously, that's a charming thing to write. That's like, he's taking the piss.
That's a Gen Z thing. David Malukas is just like that, by the way.
Yes,
David Malukas is like the same vibe as that.
Yes, that's a very, like, kind of like calling, like let me point at the elephant in the room, even when no one's, like, looking at that elephant. You know what I mean? It's like look at that huge elephant in the room. And it's like, that's actually not an elephant. That's just, no one was thinking that.
Like, you're actually on the podium with these guys.
You're actually, like, you've been driving great this year, and, like, you deserve to be on the podium, and it's actually, there's not that much of a disparity. Like, so why are you making that joke? So I think that there's an honesty to some of it, but there's obviously, like, a cockiness to him that this, like, humility doesn't fully represent. Like, he'd rather appear, like, humble, appear like he's like, I fucking, like, who's the first person to, like, make fun of me? Me. But, like, what's actually in there is actually more of, like, a cocky dick.
Yeah, but you it's like, why am I unpicking all these layers? Just fucking drive the car. Do you know what I'm saying?
He's a little bit like, what you see isn't really what you get. Like, in our categories of the thing, like, he's a little bit like, I don't know, like, Oscar is what you see is what you fucking get.
What you get. What I'm saying is like, in that dissonance, I think the dissonance between, like, who you are, unless you're Lewis Hamilton.
Yes, right.
Unless you're just...
He really is the exception to the rule. He's
but I actually think that's become a way to protect him. Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Like a way to hide.
Yes.
His name is so great that he's created this, like, exterior.
Yeah.
To like, that's what super famous people do. Is they sometimes create a persona, and then they're like, all right, I'm gonna throw this guy out there,
yeah,
and then that's who they can have, and then, like, and then to all my friends, I'm Sweet Lou or whatever the fuck they might call him. I'm just assuming that they call him Sweet Lou, but you know, or whatever. But
that's what we'd call him if we were friends with him.
But, like, you know, if Lando Norris became like Lewis Hamilton level, he would have to. At certain levels, you have to you can't just be that.
Right, yeah.
Or or you make a conscious decision. You're like, okay, there's Lewis Hamilton, the brand, and there's Lewis Hamilton, like, just the guy. Mm-hmm. And we saw the guy, and you watch the old YouTube clips, he's just a fucking guy. Mm-hmm. Where he's quoting Ali G, and he's being a sassy little bitch. He's more like these young guys, right?
Right. Yeah.
But at a certain point, he decided he was going to move away from that. But I think at a young age, it's just like just drive the car. Don't worry about all these other things. Just fucking drive the car and don't worry about like pointing out, being meta and pointing out the thing. Yeah. Just fucking do the thing. And I don't know. I that's just my opinion. And
it seems like he simultaneously suffers from like a bit of imposter syndrome and like like a bit of narcissism. He's like He I think he straddles that, which you know what, I can understand, because it's like sometimes
I understand that too.
Sometimes you walk into certain environments and you're like, I'm the fucking shit, like I belong to be here, and then all of a sudden you're in other environments and you're like, I'm a fraud. What do I do with my hands? Like what, and I think that he has a little bit of that, and yeah, he's so online and he's so Gen Z that I do wonder about like when he's in that moment. And this is
overthinking it.
And this is a really interesting thing, and I think it's a thing that anyone can relate to, but I think it's something especially that like younger generations, people who grew up with the internet, you can relate to. And Bo Burnham I once heard in an interview, he was talking about this, and he was talking about like the experience of high school, like for him and young people, like they'd already experienced it through movies and media and the internet. Like when you're at prom, you've already watched however many movies about going to prom. You've seen like people on YouTube talking about going to prom. Like you've already like consumed so much like what being at prom is, that by the time you're at prom, you're like, what do I do with my hands? Like you don't know what to do.
Well, prom is like now, like it's not an experience. It's like a postmodern experience. It's like
you're kind of self-aware the whole time. You're self-conscious. Exactly. And that's what like Gen Z is. They're constantly like they're constantly looking
Everything's
at
a meme. Everything's literally a meme.
Yeah, there's literally
This is a meme.
Lando's such a meme right now. Shout out to Issa. But I think, and that's what's interesting about like when Lando gets in those moments, like when he's going to win the race, and it's like, holy fuck, I'm in. And I think anyone can relate to that, but like I think especially for Gen Z, it's like this is the moment that I have thought about. I'm in it now, and it's hard to like just be present in it.
And we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes. It's also about being in touch. Like I feel like we've talked about this, Brian. I think for like high performance athletes, you can be too in touch with your emotions.
Right.
You could be too like, what am I feeling right now? Like, how does this make me feel? Like, like you could check in too much.
Well, in life, you can check in too much. It's like it's like you can be too at a certain point. Actions, you can't think your way out of a problem.
But it's just like, how much checking in do you think Alonso's doing? You know what I'm saying? Alonso, a lot. Like, what's so funny is there's this great. You did a TikTok about this, where there's a moment where like you see all these drivers. They're listening to their music. They're like talking to their engineers. They're just doing. They have all these, and you just see like Alonso, who's just like staring into just the void, just thinking about nothing. He's just like, when do I get back in the car and get to fuck people up? Like, he's not overthinking it. He's existing. He's present. He's there. I am there to win. I am there to fuck. I am there to kill.
Yes.
Not like, oh, what's the internet? Although ironically, he's now been turned on to the internet. He's now discovered the internet and is now winning the internet.
Yeah, he's the internet king. Yeah.
Because he's actually off the charts in terms of entertainment value.
Yes.
And in terms of just who he is who he is. And so he actually wins on the internet because he doesn't care about. He's just like watching like it's like watching an animal. They just exist. That's why people go to the zoo, because in the zoo you just get to watch animals just exist, and that's why my one acting class, right? The acting teacher says whenever and he was a great acting teacher. He said whenever I watch a movie or a play and there's an animal in it, I go, that actor's fucked.
Yeah.
Because the animal is just there being an animal. They're always going to be better than the actor. Because the actor's like, what are my lines? They're not actually the character. The animal's the bear is actually the bear. The bear's like, I'm a bear. Yeah. All right, you want me to go here? You want me to... The bear's just a bear.
Yeah.
The bear's not the bear doesn't think he's in a movie. The bear is just like, I'm here now and I'm growling. You know?
Right.
Bear's just a bear. And Alonso's just Alonso.
Well, Alonso getting big on TikTok and being so big on the internet, it's kind of the same energy of like, there's a bunch of kids on TikTok that like their accounts have blown up by just filming their parents. And they're like, because their parents are just like honest people, just living their lives.
It's like the zoo.
Yes, literally. And then these kids are like, oh my God, like my mom's crazy. My dad's crazy. And then like all of a sudden they become super famous because the kids are like, you're a meme. Wait, mom's literally a meme.
Yeah, if once you turn the camera around at the kid's just like,
Yeah. Yeah. And the kid's like kind of put on. It's like the parent is actually the star. And that's what, the genius, I think it's Jimmy over at Aston Martin, recognizes. Like, if we just put a camera on this guy and to tell him to do a little bit of things, we're going to do numbies. Like, the guy does numbies. And I want to get into his thing, but maybe we get into our awards and we can award Fernando Alonso with like everything and we can just talk about him for the rest of the pod, maybe?
Yeah.
Is there anything we want to cover before we get into our awards?
Ted Kravitz randomly, he just outed Machine Gun Kelly.
Dude, yes, I want to talk about this. We can give him, you know what? Let's give him let's start with Karen of the day because he fucking ratted on Machine Gun Kelly. But I want to talk about
what is your why is that relevant to anything other than you are resentful of his access or something?
Yes.
And you want to burn him for it? It was such a petty move, but I guess I like it because it's giving. The race was boring as shit.
Right.
Like towards the end. I mean, it was exciting at the beginning, and I kind of
it was exciting at the end. It was exciting at the end. It was exciting at the beginning, excited at the end. In the middle, it was just like
in the middle. So I was like, okay, he gave us this gem of like, I'm just absolutely shitting on Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, Ted Kravitz is the George Russell of the Sky Sports team. Because
he's chaos.
He's not that good at his job. Like he's not like these other things. Like he's but goddamn does he give you something to talk about? Like that guy, he gives you a soundbite. He gives you something to talk about. Like he is entertainment value. Yeah. He but did you watch any of the pre-race stuff with Brundle, the grid walk?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
So Brundle on the grid walk. He's doing it, whatever. He's running through. He runs into Machine Gun Kelly. And he's like, oh, and we're here with Machine Gun Kelly. And he's like, oh, this tall blonde man. And Machine Gun Kelly like walks up to him and he's like, what's going on with your career, Machine Gun?
I love that.
And Machine Gun Kelly's like, what, bro? Like, I can't hear. Like, what'd you say? And then he's like, what's going on with your...
It's loud.
It's loud. And he's like, what's going on with your career? And he's probably... Machine Gun Kelly also probably has shitty hearing because he's a music artist. He's probably, like, constantly berated with loud music. His eardrums are probably fucked already. Anyway, he can't hear him. And then he's like, what's going on with your career? Machine Gun Kelly's just like...
Which is like a triggering question for any artist.
It's a weird question. It's like, Brundle, you can't ask... But here's the thing.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Also,
but it's like... Know.
But it's also like there are certain celebrities that are probably like, I want to plug something. I have a movie coming
out.
Blah, blah, blah. Machine Gun Kelly's not necessarily one of those guys. Like that guy is just like a guy who's just
what's going on with your career? Well, I'm fucking Megan Fox. That's been pretty awesome.
He's just dick first into the world. That's what he's doing with his life. So he's
an aspiring Pete Davidson is what he is.
Literally. So Machine Gun Kelly and they're friends.
He's friends with Pete Davidson. He's like, God damn it, why can't I be more like him?
They're friends. They're like literally like buds. He and Pete Davidson, Machine Gun Kelly. Anyway. So Machine Gun Kelly's like, man, I don't care about like my career. Like I don't think about my career, man. Like I just like live. And then Brundle's just like, okay, well, what do you think of this sport we have going on that you're? And then he's like, yeah, like shaking hands with death and blah blah blah. And then he's like, I love your world. And then Brundle's like, well, we've always got along famously, like my industry and your industry, the music industry and the motorsport industry. They've always gone along very well. And then Machine Gun Kelly literally said that he was like, yeah, man, like, do you play, can you play a little air guitar? Can you give us a little air guitar? And Brundle's like, oh, no. And he's like, do it, man. Like, well, fine, an air piano. I'll play the air guitar. Let's do a little air guitar, air piano. And Brundle's just like, like, no. It was the most awkward series of events. It was the most awkward 90 seconds I've ever seen in my entire life.
I actually got to give props to Machine Gun Kelly for trying to make a moment.
He tried to make a moment.
He tried. And usually he tried.
He did try.
He actually Martin Brundle, and he didn't know what. He hit Martin Brundle. Okay, you're going to just come up and be random with me? Yes. I'm going to be random, right? I'm going to meet you with that energy. You're asking me about my career? I'm a musician. Let's do air guitar together. You say that we work hand in hand. I'm actually going to yes and you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we do work hand in hand. Let's work hand in hand. Actually, tracked.
Right.
And it would have been an internet. Honestly, he should have done it.
He should have done it. It would have done numbies, dude.
It would have done numbies.
But you know what? It was.
But you
it was
don't
kind
ask
of
Martin Brundle the questions. You don't ask him You don't ask him to do awkward. No, he asks Megan Thee Stallion to do a rap.
Well, this is.
You know what it was?
I think this was his
clapback. This was his clapback for Megan Thee Stallion. And you know what? And so now it makes all sense. So Ted Kravitz was just like, that was Ted Kravitz being like, Martin Brundle says his regard, bitch.
Yeah. Yes, that's what that was.
Wow. Yes. But I actually don't. I actually think I think Machine Gun Kelly probably. Yeah,
it would have been a moment.
What he did.
It would have been a moment, and I mean, it was still a moment. But it would have been better if he had done it. And then when Kravitz called out Machine Gun Kelly for leaving early, Brundle said like, "Well, I hope he's not leaving because of me. Like, I hope he's not mad at me." Also, Brundle, in classic fashion, he said as he was leaving the interview with Machine Gun Kelly, he was like, "Well, good luck with it, whatever you do." And then he said, well, I don't think I'll be invited to his Christmas party this year. And on he went. Then there was another moment right after this. He finds Bernie Ecclestone on the track. And I want to get this quote right. He says, like, Bernie, so good to see you, Bernie. Bernie, who recently was found guilty of fraud. He literally said this to him. Like, he goes, Bernie, so good to see you. I've heard you've had an expensive month with Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. He literally said that, dude.
And what did Bernie say?
Bernie was just like, oh, well, I'm just so happy to be here, and we were able to work it out. I'm just thrilled to be here. And then Bernie was like, we're so happy to have you here. But just like right away to be like, you've been found guilty for fraud recently. It was just, mwah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we stand Martin, but I'm actually going to take Machine Gun Kelly's side on that.
I know, crazy, and that's what happened when a celebrity kind of gets in the trenches.
It's like it's like Martin Brundle actually doesn't want them to engage with him. He likes it so much better when they kind of reject him.
Yes,
and then he gets to own them.
He's such a sub. He's such a sub.
No, but
he's a power bottom. He's a power bottom.
He's a power bottom.
Yes.
But when they actually when they're actually okay, like, yeah, I'm a musician. Mm-hmm. You said this thing where we work well together. Let's fuck. He's like, whoa.
Right.
Why are you talking to me? Actually,
He
didn't want to have a conversation with you.
It's so fucking British. It's so British. It's the difference between in Animal House, and we talked about this with Nate Saunders. The difference between American humor and British humor is that in Animal House, the guy's playing the guitar on the stairs, and then Belushi comes in and he takes the guitar and he smashes it into a million pieces.
Yeah.
The American comedian wants to be Belushi, and the British comedian wants to be the guy playing the guitar. And that is Brundle's the guy playing the guitar who gets his guitar smashed, and then he gets a little zinger in there, and then he's on his way.
Yeah.
So that's Karen of the day, but I guess it's Ted Kravitz. So maybe he was just standing with his boy. He was just like, you know what, fuck Machine Gun Kelly. All right, let's get into the rest of our awards. Hottest moment of the day.
Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, I mean, Fernando Alonso is probably going to be hottest moment of the day. He's going to be daddy of the day. He's going to be all the good ones. This battle, let's get into it. We've waited long enough. That battle was amazing.
Sexy.
Thrilling. I mean, were you just like coming the whole time? I mean, I was bricked up, and I was like, Matt must just be in absolute ecstasy right now.
I was actually kind of more enraged.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, right.
I was angry.
Hey, where there's a will, there's a way.
I was like, why is he not in conversation for the Red Bull seat?
Right.
Like, this is just What more do you need?
It's plain as day.
It's just, they're right there.
Yeah.
Alonso in the Franken car.
Yeah.
There were rumors.
Yes.
Jenny points out there were rumors, but then Fernando Alonso was like, this is fake news, and there will be consequences. You know?
Yeah.
But Marco said that this is a twist. Apparently, Jenny's telling me Alonso made this big show of being like, you know, your job is to report the news and blah, 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 blah. And I can't believe you're saying this about me, and there will be consequences to your actions for reporting this.
Right.
Marco says he wouldn't be surprised if it was Alonso who started the rumor. As for the rumors about Alonso, I can well imagine that Alonso spread them himself because his results with Aston, it wouldn't be the first time that he used his home media to create a mood. Mood. Marco said no truth to Checo leaving. Now, I mean, it's just like, I just feel like we're in this, well, we've always been in this era of ageism in like, we got to find the next shiny thing.
Right.
And it's like, why does it always have to be some young twink? Why can't it just be the guy that's clearly the third best guy on the grid or something?
Yeah.
Fourth best guy?
A top 3 guy.
A top 3 guy.
Yeah.
Why not just give it to an Iron Chef?
Yeah.
Why are we looking... Why does everything have to be, this is Sparta, you know, where we're looking for the next child warrior?
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
one
he's
of my
the
biggest heartbreaks that he can't just get in a car that can win.
I mean, he's the truth, dude. He's the truth. He held him off for like 12 laps with, in the Aston, when Max is like 55 seconds ahead of fucking Alonso in the Red Bull.
And what's crazy is people who know his driving style were saying, he doesn't usually he's taking corners differently than he usually takes them because he knows that will compromise Sergio's corners.
Yes.
And that's what this makes this track so special, is because George Russell was talking about this actually, which is like, there are a lot of these corners where you can only take them one way, like these dramatic, like these street tracks where it's like you go straight, you stop, you turn. But what makes Brazil so cool is like there's a lot of room for artistry and like interpretation, right? Where you could take it a million different ways. Yeah. And so it's a very it's a more driver influenced track. Right. And they were talking about how like just Perez was just Alonso was like, I guess he was maybe more V'ing the corners, and he doesn't like to do that. Anyway, he was just putting on a masterclass in terms of the angles he was taking into the corners, and apparently he was like masterful with his battery, like his energy usage, and Perez just couldn't figure it out until the last second. Yep. And he'd used all his battery, and Alonso. And then he went wide. He like made a mistake, or he went too wide.
In turn one, he kind of like he braked too hard. He came in like too and because this was this interesting thing. It happened a few times over the weekend. It was like you didn't actually want to get him. You didn't want to get the guy ahead of you on the main straight. You wanted to get him in the second DRS zone, because if you got him in the first DRS zone into the main straight, then the second one was coming right up, and that's the one where it was shorter, but you could actually like make it stick there, because then you're in, a different part of the track where it's harder to pass. And so, Perez got him, and I was like, no! And then I was like, I'm just watching him make his ass as wide as it could possibly go, and just hold off Perez for as long as he could, and then finally Perez gets him, and then he turns around, he nabs it back from him to fucking take, and then the photo finish, I mean, it was beautiful. I was screaming.
Well, and that's what happens when you give Fernando Alonso a good car for like one weekend, is he makes magic happen.
Literally.
And he said, he actually said that he didn't, when Perez got him, he's like, I didn't think I could get him, but he saw a little, Perez made a little mistake. Right. And he was right there.
Yeah. They were hugging. They hugged after the thing. I think that they were, there was, it's so rare that you have moments like that, like a real photo finish. That I think even if you're involved in it, you're like, that was awesome. It brings you back to like the early days, just like a true battle like that going towards the end. A .053 separating Alonso and Perez at the end of the race. No,
yeah,
but
he's
I mean,
a magician.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get driver of the day, which is insane. Lando got driver of the day.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's a bunch of people it's a bunch of young people on the internet.
Yeah, that is what it is.
It's honestly, it should be Fernando.
Yeah,
because McLaren's the second best car. Like that's where Lando should finish. At this point,
right.
Lando should finish second.
That's not him outperforming the car. That's him doing what he should do with the car. That is what that is.
Driver of the day should be Max every time, or it should be the guy who puts the car where it doesn't belong.
Yeah.
And this time it was Fernando who fucking... Although, the car was good. Stroll finished fifth. And he got Hamilton. And the TV coverage was so bad you didn't see like any of these passes.
Yeah, you didn't see it, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, it was just... Yeah, it was
Where did Yuki finish? 8th? 9th?
Yuki finished 8th, yeah.
And then where did he finish in a sprint?
In the sprint, he finished 6th, I think.
So he got a boatload of points.
Yeah, a bunch of points. Yeah, they are closing. I don't know if they're going to be able to catch. They're definitely beating Alfa Romeo. That's definitely happening.
Hell yeah.
But they could maybe catch Williams because I think they're 8 points behind. Let's see. They have 21. Williams has 28. So they have 2 races to make up 7 points. 8 points. They need 8 points more than Williams. But we know...
Yeah, the AlphaTauris are quick now.
Yeah, the AlphaTauris have all of a sudden found some speed. I mean, Vegas will be a lot of long straights, which is Williams' specialty, is the top speed, but
I think the AlphaTauris are pretty quick the fact that they're both quick, it might just offset a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll see. Certainly, Logan Sargent's not doing anything to fucking help that case. And I mean, between Daniel and Yuki, because Daniel got Daniel had damage. Daniel and Oscar's
was a lap
race,
down. He was a lap there.
He and Oscar were just like it was just they were screwed. So today didn't speak to that, but like they're a sexy little pair.
Yeah.
They're a great little pair.
Yeah. Yeah, Yuki was flying today, except when he was off the track. He can't seem to just have a spot this weekend.
Yeah,
but
that's our boy. Anyway, yeah. So hottest moment and Daddy both go to Fernando Alonso, that battle, and just Alonso. Karen, we've already said Ted Kravitz. People are saying George on the radio.
George is perfect, dude.
Ocon, obviously crashing into Alonso and blaming him. Radio of the day. I mean, why am I so unlucky? Obviously.
Why am I so unlucky? Yeah, iconic.
Yeah.
Saying the thing everybody is thinking
saying
out
the quiet
loud.
thing out loud. And then, all right, red flag of the day. Just like
anybody
Merc,
still defending Ocon,
or still thinking or still defending Merc. Mercedes as an organization.
Mercedes as an organization getting fucking beat down by AlphaTauri and their customer teams.
Yes,
not Williams.
Yeah, not Williams, but the other ones.
But the other ones.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, we got an off week, and then we got Vegas. We can do our predictions for Vegas next week. Yeah, it was a fucking man. It was
fuck, marry, kill the podiums.
Oh right, fuck, marry, kill the podium. So the real podium is who got 4th? It was Lando, Fernando, and Perez.
Marrying Nando.
Yeah.
I guess I'm fucking Lando and killing Perez. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah. Even though, I mean, they keep the lady is protesting a lot. I just need to know what's going to happen with that fucking seat because everyone keeps fucking.
They're saying he's going to keep the seat.
I know. But then everyone around keeps like kind of, when Daniel talks about it, there's like a vibe where he's like, I've heard the rumors. Obviously, I was on the bad end of some rumors last year. But like,
and then they came true.
But then he's like, yeah, but then they came through, and then he was like, but yeah, I've heard the rumors. And then like Max has even been like, yeah, I've heard the rumors, and like if Daniel's in the seat next year, I'll get along with him, and if he was taking it as like I get along with everybody, like there's no issues, like I don't have issues with anybody, but like I just get along.
Breezy,
with
beautiful cover girl.
You know me, I'm just good with all.
Well, yeah, because I'm just miles ahead of them. So
yeah. Oh, I want to give an honorary moment to. Oh my God! You know what we never talk about? The cloud of doom.
Oh yeah, that was 9 years ago, dude.
I know that was so long.
The apocalyptic.
The apocalyptic cloud that ripped the cover off one of the grandstands.
Lance will qualify third.
Yeah, yes, literally. We deem it to be true.
Yeah, yeah.
There was this moment where George Russell, maybe we can end on this because we love George now, and you got to pick up the moments where George does his thing. Is that it was pouring? I mean, it was like insane rain, obviously, that came on very quickly. And then there's this clip of like they're in the garage and George like walks by soaked and he just goes, I think it's raining out there. And for Iconic. George, I wonder if it's like he was just saying that as a cheeky joke, but the fact that like George always is like, is that rain? Is it raining?
Yeah.
Is it raining right now? And then it's like literally like, the storms that sent Noah into the ark. And then George's like, it might be raining out there a little bit. We love him now.
We love George.
He's our guy.
He's perfect.
He's our it's like he's now for us. It's like, yeah, he's lame, but he's our friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, we pick on him. He's.
What would you rather him do? Not be this way? Are you crazy?
Right. Yeah.
There are drivers that I'm like, I wish you weren't this way.
Yeah.
He's not one of them.
Right.
That's another barometer. Like, I mean, I'm not adding this to the list, but it's like sometimes I'm like, why are you this way? I've decided George is exactly the way he needs to be.
Wow. Maybe in this next episode, in our off week episode, we can do like a ranking of like who gets what grade in each category. That could be fun.
Or we put it behind a paywall and fuck you.
Put it behind the paywall, y'all. I broke my foot. I might need surgery. We don't know. I'll find out on Thursday. Subscribe to the Patreon. Thank you for listening. We love you, Venkas.
We love you, Venkas. Goodbye, Venkas.
Goodbye.